All right, welcome everybody to the different streaming places where Dr. Gameology content comes. Wherever you're watching this, please hit follow, subscribe, share, help the word get out, help the page grow. I appreciate that greatly. We are in the middle of a Final Fantasy XIV stream, and I had a couple really interesting articles come through my email over the weekend while I was at PAX Unplugged, and I wanted to share some of the ideas that came from them today. So there was one article that's looking at different addiction tendencies and how player avatar relationships factor into that. And I thought it would be really interesting to share some positive psychology insights into what we're seeing in that data, and also talk about how important the player avatar relationship is to our actual game experience. So if you'll hang out with me, let's go ahead and look at this opportunity to explore the psychological research on how creating our character shapes our game experience and the place the game has in our own psyche and mental health experience. So first off, what is an avatar? An avatar is the character that we create to represent us and the movement of us as a being in the virtual environment to accomplish tasks and complete objectives. So if you look here on my screen, we have the raid team that is showing, and this is just a screenshot of some interesting looking characters in the world of Final Fantasy XIV. And what we have going on is they are getting ready to do a fight, or they have just completed a fight successfully. We have a Dark Knight, we have a Dancer, we have a Gunbreaker, we have a Scholar, a Red Mage, a White Mage, a Summoner, and it looks like we have a Monk, possibly. I might have gotten that last one wrong, but I think what I always try to talk with people about is perfection is not the goal, it's just challenging ourselves and growing. So when we create our avatar, we are taking some different things that represent ourselves or our motivation for the character that's being played, and we are channeling them into the creative process. It might for us start with gender, it might start with what race we're selecting. It eventually includes what class we are creating and how we intend to play the game. But the character creation process is multifaceted, and it is sort of like birthing a new character into the world of the game. All the cutscenes that we are a part of, that character is going to play a role in the activity of the game narrative. That character is going to be our vessel for moving through the environments of the game, undertaking the challenges of the game. And it really is the connective piece between, for example, me sitting in a chair doing a lecture, and then me being the character in a virtual environment, being able to work on my progress through the game. If we can go to the next slide. All right, so when we create our avatar or our player character, we are actually thinking about ourselves and the character we are creating in different ways, but all at the same time. So for me, when I was creating my character, the first character I created, and I've shared this many times on my stream and different panels and lectures, I created a male character in Final Fantasy XIV because in the 8 to 10 years of playing Star Wars The Old Republic, I was playing a male character that looked very much like me. You might have noticed the two different versions of him on the title slide. That was my goal of creating a representation of myself in the Star Wars galaxy. In Final Fantasy XIV, I did not feel as motivated to play being myself in the Final Fantasy world as I did being myself in the Star Wars world. And so around a year ago, I redid the character creation process. I started over from scratch from level 1. and I created a black mage as a female. And that helped me, for whatever reason, to connect with the world of the game better. There's an episode of the Gaming Persona podcast where we had Nick Yee come on and talk with me and Jenny about the different reasons why males may cross-gender play more often than females. And that was a really interesting talk. If you're interested in that, the Gaming Persona is a great resource for conversations like this one, where I get to interact with other people. It's not just a solo campaign, it is a co-op opportunity to have these discussions. But back to the topic, our avatar could just be an object for us to be able to be a part of the game world. This is not an intimate decision. It's not about our agency. It really doesn't differentiate us from other players. It's just a stand-in figure that we're going to use to be able to play and interface with the game. So our focus there would be on the combat and the competition and not so much personal expression. But moving from leftover one more state, the avatar could be me, like I did in Star Wars The Old Republic, and this is my personal experience. We're moving closer to differentiating ourselves from other players in the game. So I may pay more attention to the outfit or the class and some Jungian or psychodynamic connections between the archetype of my character and the archetype that I seek to represent. As a parent, as a friend, as a professor, as a researcher, as a game streamer. And so the avatar as me is going to focus on social play and playing as practice. So when people see my character, I want them to be able to have a thought that connects them to the reality that they are playing with me. Then there's the avatar as a symbiote. So if you are familiar with the symbiotic concept, whether it's from some kind of family relationship or maybe Spider-Man and the character of Venom or Carnage. We just had a movie release about those. So the player avatar as a symbiote means that their thought process in situations is going to be my thought process in situations. So now that connection is much more intimately involved inside my person. And so my play focus is going to include identity negotiation and sense making. And in order for that to work and give me satisfaction, I want that identity to be successful. I want my role in the story to be impactful. And that might lead us all the way to the right, the higher of all of these options, the avatar as the social other. That character I created in Star Wars that connected me for years through my dissertation research, that was me doing the avatar as social other. I am as unique in my avatar as I want to be unique in my personhood. Out here in the physical earth, in the galaxy far, far away. Again, that's not what I was looking for in my decade of age olderness in Final Fantasy XIV. And so I'm playing more of an avatar as an object seeking to master combat and competition with high player agency and low self-differentiation. Whereas this avatar as social other is looking for escape and maybe segmentation, like my ability to be this avatar as an extension of my personal identity. And so this is all about how we're going to use them. And this decision-making process on this grid operates in terms of identification, suspension of disbelief, meaning the digital world is a real world or is not, my sense of control over the use of my avatar and my decisions as the player of that avatar, and then my sense of care and responsibility, my emotional connection to the avatar itself. This is another article by Banks and Bowman. So if we can go back one, Jamie Banks is a researcher from the University of Toronto, and Nicholas Bowman is from West Virginia University. These are two different articles, one in 2013 and one in 2014. And this one is about avatars as intimate playthings and understanding our relationship as a function of attachment, agency, and intimacy. So if I decide to play avatar as an object, I'm going to have low needs for my avatar, low environmental connection for my avatar, and I'm going to think in a low level of my avatar as a digital representation of myself or as a unique individual in a virtual space. It's just a character that I play. Like the characters that are prepackaged and given to us, we have this avatar as an object idea. The further I go, the avatar is me, the avatar is a symbiote, and the avatar as my social other represent higher levels or middling out levels of these different sentiments. So if we want the highest level of personal connection with our avatar, that would be the avatar as the social other. So I play this character so that they can live and thrive in the digital world. I play this avatar so that the things that they need are able to be collected by them so they can survive, thrive, and conquer in this digital world. And I have a deep connection with the avatar itself. So if the avatar is me, then that's me in digital form. If the avatar is a social other, then the avatar is its own being, but I have this high connection with this other being to try to provide for it and make sure it's in a situation where it can succeed. Now, the study that I listed in the description for this conversation today actually comes from Kim Zolan, Daria Kus, Philip Nuyens, and Mark Griffiths, and it just came across my email over the past weekend. It's brand new. And what it did was it reviewed up to 15 or more studies that were all looking at the connection in an addiction way with the way that we make these decisions with our avatar creation and the use of our avatar. So what I've listed in these boxes are some different concepts that tap into what it is we're trying to do when we join a new game, what it is we're trying to accomplish when we spend 5 minutes on character creation or 55 minutes on character creation. If anyone was following me a year ago when I created Kyrie Lannis in Final Fantasy XIV, I believe just the highlight video of me creating her was a 30-minute video. I took a lot of time to think about the facial structures and modify those, the hair color and hairstyle, the choice of tattooed shapes on her cheek, and trying to create a character that could represent me as a black mage, but connect me with some of the other characters in the history of Final Fantasy that I really have come to love. So, for example, characters like Lightning have been really influential for me, and her sister Sarah from Final Fantasy 13 too. Also, characters like Yuna and Tifa and Renoa have been very memorable for me, whereas I don't see myself being a character that ends up looking like Squall, Leonhart, or Cloud Strife. I love those characters, but I don't see me in them as much. And so that's just one starting point, but I'm describing my own avatar identification. Because I'm confident in my own avatar connection, I think that this helps me to connect with the lore of the game and other players who are just as proud of their characters or their glam. You know, glam is the true end game, so I've been told. And the fashionistic presentation of your character is something that drives players to really take pride in which dungeons they've cleared and which gear drops they've been able to collect. And that directly ties into player motivation, sense of achievement, and also character customization, which are huge differentiation points when you look at the connections between personality type and the way we play MMORPG games, which of course is a passion of mine and a big thing that I try to offer whenever I have the opportunity to publish my own research. So out of the 15 studies, there are lots of ups and downs that indicate how much these indicate there could be a problematic level of play or a healthy level of play. One thing that I would say is that if you take pride in your avatar, you're more likely to spend time in the game doing things with that avatar. Just like if you take pride in your talent as a musician, you're going to practice your instrument more. Or if you take pride in your vehicle and how flashy and fast and powerful it sounds to the surrounding area when it drives, you're going to rev that engine and go down I-4, if you know that part of the country that I'm talking about. So there's lots of reasons to say that the avatar does connect with increases in gameplay, and I always try to offer a perspective that it is amazing to play video games, but it is transformative to play them in a healthy way. There's so many valuable takeaways we can get from the way we play video games. Creating an avatar is that first connective piece a lot of role-playing games offer us. But it's important to make sure things are happening in your life in a positive way so that you're not just proud of being able to play your avatar, but you're proud of being yourself too. And that leads me to my final points for this mini lecture. What does this all mean? And I've boiled it down to 3 points that I want to leave everyone thinking on today. The inspiration for creating our in-game avatar is multifaceted. It connects with our personality, it connects with our sociology, our development across different life stages, our age, our family, our beliefs, the core essence of who we are as people. Sometimes we express those things in small and valuable ways through our avatar creation. In fact, creating an avatar can be a powerful moment in a therapy session if you have a person there to talk with you about what does that mean? What is the goal there with that choice? What's the motivation, and what does this reality do for you? Players experience the game differently, depending not just on what choices are made during character creation, but why they were made. And finally, research is always aiming to paint a more complete picture of all these different experiences in the virtual worlds of MMORPGs and other video games that feature character creation as a central point. But it is very clear, even with things that we don't know, that character creation is a powerful experience that anchors us to the things we love the most about the experience of playing video games and being people who play them. So, we are going to transition now into a bit of a play session to finish out the afternoon and our time here at Dr. Gameology's streaming page. We're going to play Final Fantasy XIV. I hope you all have some amazing things to reflect on in your own journey through character creation. And as always, the final quest that I give out to everyone who right-clicks on me is continue the journey. Again, if you have enjoyed this conversation, please hit follow, share, subscribe, whatever it is, to help support the channel, help get me the opportunity to share more ideas like this one, and spread the information so that we can make a bigger impact. That's what we're doing here in the channel. That's why I show up to do what I do. And I hope this gave some valuable information to everyone who took the time to watch. Thank you so much. See you soon.